Hey everybody, I'm Tony. Let's see what's awesome today. Good morning, good evening, and good night, wherever you are in the world. Today, we're counting down the top 5 worst fighting games ever. Now, like most of you, I have played my fair share of fury-inducing, controller-chucking, craptacular garbage. But in a race for awfulness, these 5 games knock out the competition. Number 5, Cinco Chef. This game makes me imagine what Shaquille O'Neal's mom must have been like. My baby can do anything. He can rap, he can act, and he can star in his own fighting game. Word. Sadly, Shaq has done all of those things, and none of them has failed as badly as Shaq Fu. Okay, so the story sets up is Shaq's in Tokyo for this all-star game, and he's running late, and so he decides to go into an antique store, which whisks him away into a different world where he has to go on this fighting adventure. I know, makes tons of sense. Not only is Shaq the most underpowered fighter in the game, but he also moves and controls as slow as he does on the basketball court. The only way Shaquille O'Neal could be more useless in a video game is if they called it the free throw shootout. Number 4, Quattro, Rise of the Robots. Rise of the Robots is what happens when you take a tech demo and try to force a game out of it. Outside of the graphics, which were good at the time, the game really didn't have anything. It only had a handful of fighters, and literally they only had like 6 or 7 moves each. And I'm not talking about special moves, I'm talking about punches and kicks. They had 6 punches and kicks each, that's it. And you'd fight it out and it'd be like, oh, Cyborg Man versus Automation Robot Arm. And no AI. You literally spent the game hitting a kick button trying not to fall asleep. Maybe if there was a little bit more effort put into this game, I would have used it other than how I did. Finding out what happens when you put a cartridge into a blender. Yeah. Number 3, Kasumi Ninja. Back in '93, Atari was on its last chance of being in the console wars. They released the Jaguar system. Ooh. Now, this piece of crap was hated all across the board. It was horrible, horrible, horrible. But, you know, that's what you did in the 90s. You put out portable things and people still bought it. Everything about this system was a fail, but that's going to be a different episode. Now, Atari really needed a game to be a system seller, so somebody must have said, you know, that Mortal Kombat is a pretty hip and happening thing with the kids these days. We should get that. Unfortunately, Midway Games that makes Mortal Kombat saw the Jaguar for the piece of crap that it was, and they were like, nope, not gonna happen. So, Atari and its greatness, still wanting a graphic fighting game for their system, they shopped it around and somebody picked up and said, hey, I got this thing, it's called Kasumi Ninja. And it's just like Mortal Kombat. How much like Mortal Kombat? It's just like Mortal Kombat. Okay? It's horrible. Horrible. No amount of blood and gore can make this turd shine. Okay? Really. The only saving grace, I think, it will have to be that crazy Scotsman Angus and his weapons grade STDs. Number 2. Star Wars Masters of Terracasai. Now, for most gamers, when I mention Star Wars, it brings up fond memories of the Super Star Wars series, Rogue Squadron, Old Republic, even hell, Shadows of the Empire on Nintendo 64. Okay? Good memory. Now, the idea of pairing up Star Wars iconic characters in a fighting game should have put the gaming world in a nerdgasm coma. What it ended up being was a bag of crap. Bad controls, bad balance, bad concept. Problem number 1, why would Luke or Vader show up to a fight without their lightsaber turned on? Seriously, you pick either one of these characters and you have to first turn on their lightsaber in the middle of the battle. Okay, I could see Luke maybe, I'm going to try to talk him out of it, use my Jedi mind powers. You know, I could see him trying to go that way. He did that way with Jabba, fine. Okay, great. But Vader? Come on! Vader starts with his saber out. Okay, let's get past that. If you could figure out how to get them to turn on their lightsabers, even if you did, it was like they were in low flow eco mode because they couldn't burn anything off. They couldn't cut anything off. All they did was like whack. It was like you were using a foam bat that just kind of hummed. The second big problem with this game is that in the giant universe of Star Wars, of all the characters they could pick of, they ran out of iconic characters and just started making up stuff. Because then, if you didn't want to play as Luke or Han or Leia, you could play as Thak, Jabba's guard, or even Hor, the Tusken Raider. Yes, that is his name. Hor. This game needs to be tossed into the Sarlacc pit. And no, Lucas, not that CG porn special edition bullshit you try to pull. Nobody likes that. I do! Okay, maybe that guy. Number 1, Street Fighter the movie. The game. Let's take a trip to Imagine Land to see how this game came to be. The year was 1994. The place, Capcom was on top of the world with its flagship series Street Fighter. Allergic to the number 3, Capcom was printing money with each re-release of Street Fighter 2. Championship, Turbo, Hyper, Super Edition even. Running out of adjectives, they were approached by Universal Pictures to turn the arcade hit into a Hollywood blockbuster starring Jean-Claude Van Damme. Things moved smoothly until one fateful day, a programmer had the idea. Man, this movie looks awesome. I should make a fighting game based off this. And thus the legend was born. Street Fighter, the movie, the game. Yeah, that's right. They made a game based off the movie, based off the game. It's so meta, it makes less sense than the plot of the Matrix movie. To make things worse, they decided to go with full motion captured video instead of the hand-drawn animation sprites that they were used to doing and knew how to do. Even with the actors from the movie playing their characters in the game, it still came off as like a weekend attempt at a Street Fighter fan film. But then they tacked on this really complicated countering system that just like, So you can escape their throw with a counter throw, but then they can counter your counter throw with a reverse. But you can counter the reverse that is countering your counter throw that was used to escape the throw by using a slam master technique. Thankfully, the movie ended up being so bad that it was good and got into my collection. The game, however, was just so bad that it was bad. Now, before we go, it's time to pull from the coconut of bad ideas. Coconut of bad ideas. What's going to be in here? I don't know. There's a lot of bad ideas in here. Let's go with that one. Oh, I got my idea. If I'm ever on life support, unplug me. Then plug me back in and see what happens.
Hello, IT. Have you tried turning it off and on again?
It's not a bad idea, actually. So, did you agree with our list? Do you disagree? Say so in the comments. They're right below. It's easy. It spends 2 seconds. It makes me feel like somebody watches me. And I love that. I love that. Alright. As always, if you're running out of mana, I got you covered. But you can counter the reverse that was reversing your counter throw that was countering the throw that you were trying to escape with a master slam technique.